I need a summary, because I've been only vaguely keeping track of the story for this expansion, because it's all been so meh. Okay, you need a summary of the story of the Shadowlands. Okay. I can do this. I can do this from the top of my head. I can do this. Easy clap. I can do this. Just ask questions along the way and I will fill in the gaps, yeah? Gather around, children. We shall tell you the story of the Shadowlands. Hello, everyone. Once upon a time, at the very beginning of the Warcraft universe, you might have heard the tale about void and light, life and death, order and disorder. But as we found out, there was more. There were explosions, exciting music, the first ones, metal guitars. Hi-ya! They were the first ones. What have the first ones done? The first ones, seemingly, as a lot of information surrounding the first ones is still very much kept in the dark. Seemingly, the first ones have brought order to the cosmic universe. Meaning that they took light and they put it there, and they put void and they put it there, and death and life, and they like brought balance to these 6 cosmic forces, an eternal tug of war, and life was good. Yes, there was strife, yes, there was war in our crafts, but life was good, there was balance. And as long as this tug of war would keep going, as long as one force would not dominate the other, it would be good. Part of being part of this cycle means that there are sepulchres, means that there are forces within these forces. So you got light, you got void, all that, you got like forces within it. And as we learned, within the Shadowlands, we got the Eternal Ones. We have the Jailer, the Winter Queen, Sire the Nepheus, the Primus, and Nero? No, not Nero. There's something been deleted. Kairestia the Firstborn, aka the Archon. Right. They're all happily working together with Zorvaal, and they work like the Shadowlands. So when you die, you go to the Shadowlands, and Zorvaal, the Arbiter at the time, judges your soul, sends you off to a Shadowlands where you need to be. If the Shadowlands that your soul needs doesn't exist yet, they send out an order to the Sepulchre. Yo, we need a new Shadowlands, and the Sepulchre crafts a new Shadowlands, so you can chill. But the main domains that we visited have been Bastion, Ardenweald, Revendreth, Maldraxxus, and Oribos' capital, with Maw being the hell of Warcraft. Alright, that's the setup of the Shadowlands, the setup of the first ones. Some way, somehow, some reason, our boy Zorvaal, doing his duty, learns that there is something out there. Ah, it just hurts. Something is out there. A greater threat. Something that this cycle that was imposed by the first ones would not be able to stand against. Zorvaal learns that there's something out there. And for some reason, rather than talking about it with the fellow Eternal Ones, rather than doing something, he decides to lash out at his brothers and sisters. He wants their sigils. He wants the power of the first ones. Because even though the Eternal Ones would never be allowed to go to the Sepulchre, even though the first ones told them, some way, that they would be very naughty if they would go into the Sepulchre and Zereth Mortis, they did leave them with keys to go into Zereth Mortis, for some reason, and that's what Zorvaal wanted to do. But, obviously, he got his ass kicked by his fellow Eternal Ones, and they decided to imprison him within the Maw. To keep him contained, the Primus came up with this really cool thing called Domination Language, and he tattooed his brother's body, and he was like, "Fuck, Zorvaal, you look so edgy and cool right now." And Zorvaal was like, "Yeah, buddy, I'm gonna turn this into a weapon." And Primus was like, "What?" And Zorvaal was like, "What?" And the Primus was like, "What?" And Zorvaal was like, "Nothing." And the Primus was like, "Good. You think over the naughty things you've done, Zorvaal, and I'll see you in like a few millennia after you spend your time in this eternal hell, and maybe you'll change your mind and you'll be my brother again." And so Zorvaal chained up in the maw, all alone, cried himself asleep for many, many nights. But don't you worry, even though the maw was said to be this inescapable place, where only the truly damnable souls go, it's not really though. You see, it's really easy to escape the maw for anyone except Zorvaal. It's really cool. Sorry. Right. So, as Zorvaal was chilling in the maw with no communication to the outside world, he got communication to the outside world in the form of Sire Denethrius. For some reason, Sire Denethrius was like, yo, Zorvaal, if you just spoken with me, we might have worked on this together. But now I'm just going to side with the other Eternal Ones and actually imprison you. But he got in touch with Denethrius, and Denethrius created the Dreadlords, and then the Dreadlords were sent out to infiltrate all these cosmic domains. Pretty much, the story of Warcraft as you know it, it's a bit too much to go into, but pretty much the story of Warcraft as you know it has been orchestrated by the team-up of Zorvaal and Denethrius. Yeah? Why? To get Zorvaal out of the maw and get in those powers within the Sepulchre. The ending of 9.2, the entirety of the Warcraft universe. Fuck. Ow. Oh, that actually hurt me in the meow meow. The ending of 9.2 is where it all was building up to. Ow, I need more coffee. Wait, I need more coffee. So, within his prison, with his brother Denethrius and an army of Dreadlords, they went to work, putting out pieces, putting out pawns on the table in order to get himself in the right position to get themselves at the end of 9.2. Meaning a Sargeras going on his grand crusade of eradicating the universe, like the Burning Crusade, right? You might think, well, was that Sargeras? Was that the Void Lords? Wrong! Was the Jailer. You might think, well, what about the Void Lords sending out the old gods into the universe to begin with? Was that the Void Lords? Maybe. There's also potential of it being the Jailer. Aren't we having fun? The Titans, their whole war with Sargeras and being kicked ass and stuff like that. Was that just them? Sargeras? Maybe? Nah. Jailer did it. So a lot of the storylines that we know and love in the Warcraft universe has now become Jailer did it. For this grand scheme of his, in order to re-originate whatever the first ones created. So everything, we're gonna go fast forward a little bit. Everything that happened so far has been working towards that. Even storylines like Arthas the Lich King, especially Arthas the Lich King, Ner'zhul. You might have thought like that was an original plan of Kil'jaeden and Sargeras and the Burning Legion. No, it was actually Dreadlord's Jailer. So, okay, let's get a little bit closer to the Shadowlands itself. In Legion, Vol'jin dies, and Vol'jin makes Sylvanas the new war chief. We now found out that that was the Jailer. Actually, it was Muzala, but Muzala was working for the Jailer. So Sylvanas, as the war chief, first goes after the power to create more Valkyr in Legion. Even though she was now already in league with the Jailer. And then in Battle for Azeroth, she decides, you know what? It's time to empower my Jailer and get him out of the maw. Even though the Jailer was actually responsible for Arthas the Lich King, and you imagine how much Sylvanas has sacrificed and pushed forward and get a vengeance upon Arthas the Lich King. Imagine how mad she would be about the force behind Arthas the Lich King that actually caused all of this. But no, for some reason, and they have still not explained what exactly the reason was, Sylvanas decided that it would be a really good idea to ally herself with the Jailer. Anyways, she decided Battle for Azeroth has come, I'm going to do the thing, I'm going to send a whole bunch of souls to the Jailer. Because you see, at the end of Legion, we defeated Argus. Argus is a Titan. Normally Titans, they don't go to the Shadowlands, but in this case, it did. Why? Because of the Jailer, of course. You see, what we didn't know was that the Dreadlords were in league with the Jailer and Denethrius, and the Dreadlords actually pumped Argus full of death magic, or something like that. And then, when Argus was defeated by us at the end of Legion, even though there was no way to predict that was actually going to happen at that moment, Argus shot off into the Shadowlands and broke the Arbiter. Uh-oh. So now what happens? Well, the arbiter is broken, so the souls are no longer being judged. So now all the souls, like a gigantic toilet, they go into the maw, feeding the jailer. Which you might think, uh-oh, is there nothing we can do about it? Yes, we can. You see, souls don't just automatically go into the Shadowlands. Souls are carried into the Shadowlands by the Kyrian. Doesn't that mean that if the Kyrian just dropped their work, that no souls would go into Zorvaal? World threat ended? Yes, but that would be smart. And as we can establish, everybody is really fucking dumb. So the Kyrians, they just continue their job. They bring poor Ben into the Shadowlands, drop him into the maw, feeding the jailer. Oh my god, how are we gonna fix this problem? Praise the purpose. Enter Battle for Azeroth, where War Chief Sylvanas Windrunner decides that it's a really good idea to start a war. Why a war? Haven't we already done a war before? Yes, but this time she is the one that leads the war. But Sylvanas knows that the Horde would never trust the Banshee Queen, right? Why would you trust the Forsaken, right? So she needs Sourfang on her side. And she convinces Sourfang, like, look, we might be able to broker a peace with the Alliance right now, yeah? But what about in 10 years? What about in 50 years? If we've seen anything, Horde and Alliance, the one thing that they do is they fight each other. We might as well wipe them off the board right now, secure victory for generations to come. And you know what? It was actually a good explanation. It's a bit sad that you didn't put it in the video game itself and we had to read it in a short story, but it was a good explanation anyways. So we go into the war, for the Horde, for the Alliance, all that good stuff, World of Warcraft, and we get up to the point where the main plan was we're going to occupy Teldrassil, we're going to make sure that the Alliance cannot strike back, we're going to hold all these Night Elves hostage, and it's going to be great. Except Sylvanas got really pissed off, and she decided to burn down the tree and cause a massive Night Elf barbecue. Also, she gave the kill to Sourfang for some reason. And now, uh-oh! Now we have nothing to hold over to the Alliance! And the Alliance is free to retaliate. Enter the Siege of Lordaeron, where Sylvanas nearly won, except Jaina showed up with her magical floating ship as she goes like, pew, 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 pew. And Sylvanas goes like, uh-oh, well if I can't have Lordaeron, nobody can have Lordaeron! Fuck all you bitches! And she blows it all sky high. Enter Battle for Azeroth. I can feel how angry you are. There is no anger, Hannah. This is purely me having a shit and a giggle at it. The emotions died. End of 9.1 is when I was angry. Emotions now are gone. And this is just me enthusiastically and kind of jokingly trying to tell you the story of the Shadowlands and Warcraft as a whole. So, enter Battle for Azeroth, where we kill each other a lot. And Sylvanas yells for the Horde a couple of times. And the Horde has yet to suffer through another storyline in which the War Chief has gone bad and the world needs to take it up against her. As if we haven't seen that storyline before, right? Now that I think about it, you have copied 2 storylines so far. New writing team. You have copied the Garrosh storyline and the Sargeras storyline and the Titan storyline. Interesting. Anyways, ultimately, we confront Sylvanas, we get ready for Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0, but there would be no Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0, for Sylvanas yells really loud, "You are all nothing!" when she got really upset at Sourfang. And then she killed Sourfang. So Sylvanas floats off into the next expansion, proclaiming, "When next you see me, you will understand." Spoiler alert, my dear viewer, you will not understand. You will fuck all understand anything in Shadowlands, because nobody explains anything. So Sylvanas floats off into the Shadowlands, where she joins the Jailer. The one that she's been in league with all along. Trust us, the Jailer's always been part of the plan. Wink, wink. It's not like we came up with him 2 years ago. So she joins the Jailer after shattering the helmet at the top of Icecrown, which caused a massive rift in the sky. But apparently also the Jailer has been holding it open with his epic powers. I don't know how that works. Nephanos gets killed and sent off into the Shadowlands. Obviously, if you die, you get sent off into the Shadowlands. And he was like, ha 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 ha, you're just gonna send me to Sylvanas. But they didn't. And like Tyrande, at some point, like Tyranda's got this whole arc, right? Where she becomes this epic night warrior. She wants to claim vengeance for what Sylvanas did to her people. Like genocide of a race. There's a lot to be said there, yeah? There's a lot of similarities between her path and Sylvanas, right? Imagine Sylvanas coming one-to-one with Arthas the Lich King back in the day. Imagine Tyrande going one-on-one with Sylvanas, right? Could be cool, could be interesting. It's not. They literally put Tyrande in a nap, in a timeout. And then when she wakes up, she's like, oh, I had a really good nap. Yeah, I'm gonna go for renewal now. For some reason. Also, Elune had something to do with the burning of Teldrassil. We're not exactly sure what, because the writing is extremely vague. But she had something to do with the burning of Teldrassil. Okay, so Tyrande, back to the point, mentions to Sylvanas, like, you don't know where Nephanos is, do you? Like, you didn't even know Nephanos was dead. Meaning that the jailer kept Nephanos away from Sylvanas and she didn't know. Does that lead to anything? No. No. What? You expect things to lead to stuff? No. No, Sylvanas just serves the jailer. Oh, wait, no, she's not actually serving the jailer, but she totally serves the jailer, for whatever reason, throughout the entirety of the Shadowlands. What does that entail? Well, they kidnap our leaders. Well, some of them. Like, Thrall goes up there, Jaina goes up there, Bane goes up there, and Anduin goes up there. In the case of Thrall, he reconnects with the elements. In the case of Jaina, she doesn't do anything. In the case of Bane, he does even less. In the case of Anduin, well, as it turns out, Anduin is exactly the thing that they were looking for. Why? Well, Anduin is so good-looking and such a sweet child that if they would use Anduin and send him over into Bastion, they would give him an audience with the Archon, and he could just yoink out her sigil. Remember those sigils that the jailer wanted to have? Now, we had to work really hard for our audience with the Archon, but some way, somehow, being Anduin Rin means that you just instantly get invited over for tea and biscuits. So that's why they wanted Anduin. But Anduin, our lad Anduin, he always knows what's best, right? Whenever he's on a path that's wrong, his bones start to ache. That's actually a thing. But our boy Anduin knows right from wrong. And he tells Sylvanas, look around you. Look at what and who you joined. Can you not see that the jailer is the bad guy? To which the entire audience goes like, yeah, like it's a walking Frostmourne. Can't you see, Sylvanas? The jailer is the bad guy. And Sylvanas is like, I've come too far now, fuck it. I'm doing to you what Arthas did to me, Anduin Rin. And she stabs him with a blade. And she turns him into a mindless, controlled puppet. So she did the very same thing that Arthas did to her. The cycle has been complete. We're dealing with a storyline in which Sylvanas deals with her Arthas history, yet at the same time she does exactly what Arthas did. Subtlety and beautiful storytelling in my Warcraft, doubt it. So okay, Anduin has been converted, has been turned into the dark side, has now been dominated by the jailer. And he gets sent off on his mission, and he goes out collecting sigils. We try to stop them, but we can't stop them. Meanwhile, the Primus is like, yo, if we fail to stop them, we might need our own sigils, so go make your own sigils, which we do. It's like really, really easy. I don't know why the jailer spent like millennia trying to get these sigils and Anduin up into the maw. It's really easy to make these sigils, but whatever. Whatever, we get our own sigils, and obviously we lose. But not before Sylvanas realized that the jailer is the bad guy. You see, Anduin might have told her, like, look around you, look at what and who you joined. But that message didn't really land, right? She was too far gone. There was no turning back. Except, at the top of Torghast, the jailer dared to say serve, which caused her to remind herself of a time when she heard the word serve. And then she was like, I will never serve! Which was supposed to be like a really empowering moment, but it was really dumb. So yeah, Sylvanas will never serve. She turns against the jailer at the height of his power. And obviously, she gets her ass kicked. He restores her soul for some reason. And he leaves her to our judgment. And instead of just stabbing her instantly, we keep her alive for some reason. Now that I think about it, why exactly is Sylvanas still alive? Like, I get the whole, we must hold hands, we must forgive each other. I get that part. But why didn't we kill Sylvanas? Like, what has she actually done in order to change the course of the story? I guess she helps out with the Burger King crown, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. So Sylvanas' soul is restored. What does it mean? Nothing, really. Like, she already had a moment in which she turned around from the jailer, so that effect is not there. The only thing that really happened is that her previous self can now see what she's become, and she realizes, like, oh yeah, I've become the very thing that I fought against. But that's not the first time that she's been told that. You might remember a certain Garrosh Hellscream that told Sylvanas, like, what's the difference between you and the Lich King now? And she, like, sassily said, well, I serve the Horde. That line that everybody thought was, like pretty fucking cool. Like, it's not new information that she became, like, Arthas, right? But I guess there was a reason for getting the soul back in. And yeah, so we go into Zereth Mortis as we need to stop the jailer. And true to his nature, the jailer actually shows up in town as they're trying to make her way into the sepulchre, right? To complete their dreams, complete their plans. And the jailer sees us, and he has the perfect opportunity to either dominate us or murder us. And the jailer's like, lol, don't feel like it. I'm gonna go do something else now. He literally turns around and he's like, I'll kill you another time. Obviously, he doesn't kill us another time as we killed the jailer. And we find out all this motivation about, like, this big-ass threat that's coming and all the reasoning as to why he's been doing what he's been doing. We find out at the end, because that's good storytelling. And why did he do it? Because something's coming. What is coming? What? You wanted conclusions? You wanted actual storytelling in your World of Warcraft? Nah. Just wait and see. It's just gonna be the next expansion, and the next expansion, and the next expansion. Maybe go buy a book in order to find out why we're doing what we're doing. That's the story of the Shadowlands. Any questions?